It has been nearly 1 year since that big winter storm paralyzed Texas and many of us here in the Valley. The Valley citrus industry making a comeback, but it's going to look a lot different in the future. Channel 5's Christian Von Preissing reports.
Last year's freeze had a huge impact on the industry. Some trees are still damaged. Some orchard owners decided to get out of the industry. This field in Weslaco used to be an orchard. Now it's slated for new development. The industry is still recovering.
Last year's winter freeze stunted much of the harvest, killed limbs, and permanently affected many citrus trees.
Some folks take the opportunity after a freeze or a disaster like that to do something else with their land.
You cut that open.
Dill Murden showed us the damage when it was happening. Days of freeze and thaw, dropping grapefruits to the ground too early for a successful harvest. The loss then projected at $300 million. Some growers have since decided to bulldoze what's left and move on to something else.
Some of the stuff that's, located more in town, so to speak, you're looking at, better return on investment than you might get on a long-term venture like citrus.
A long-term investment, he says, can take 5 years from when the first tree is planted to when the income arrives.
I'm going to put this pallet
Back in February, we showed you how this producer was working against the clock to get the remaining citrus off the trees and turned into juice before it was too late. That producer and others experienced big losses. Meanwhile, relief from the USDA is still forthcoming.
We hope forthcoming sooner than later because now we're already into 2022. And in regards to Texas growers, these programs would have been eligible for the 2020 hurricane and then the 21 freeze, and growers still haven't seen that benefit yet.
While some orchards are being bulldozed, others are being developed. Murden says the industry is staying about the same size.
Areas up in the north end of the valley that are being planted pretty heavily, places that aren't quite as developed as the valley has become over the last few decades.
The harvest is about 30% of what it was in a normal year, which is better than nothing, he says.
Prior to the freeze, the Texas commercial industry was about a $468 million economic impact to the state of Texas. We'll get back there.
An industry hit hard by an unusual, devastating freeze. Some losses permanent as it works to come back. Christian Von Preissing, Channel 5 News.